The day that Earth thought would be like any other quickly turned into a nightmare. It started with a strange rumble in the sky. At first, no one understood what was happening. Then, without warning, the sky itself seemed to rip open. Hundreds of massive alien warships, invisible to Earth's radar systems, appeared out of thin air, hovering ominously above the planet. They were cloaked, nearly impossible to detect, their dark shapes casting long shadows over Earth's cities. The world went silent for a moment. Then chaos erupted. People stared up in horror as loud alarms blared across every major city. In the blink of an eye, the most advanced military forces on Earth scrambled to prepare for an enemy they couldn't even see. Earth's leaders made frantic calls to each other trying to form a plan, but it was clear this was not a simple attack. It was an invasion. Without warning, a chilling broadcast filled every screen, every device. The voice that echoed across the world was cold and emotionless, yet full of confidence. The words sent a wave of terror through every human listening. This planet is weak. Your resistance is futile. Surrender or face complete destruction. The message was clear. The aliens had no intention of negotiating. They had come to conquer. Earth's military forces were thrown into confusion. They had never faced anything like this before. Soldiers ran to their posts, but no matter what they did, the alien ships seemed to appear and disappear at will. The first wave of alien ships began to descend, unleashing a terrifying barrage of weapons. The Earth's defenses were powerless. The aliens' energy cannons cut through cities, leveling buildings in seconds. The sky above was filled with fire and smoke as the Earth shook with each explosion. Major cities, from New York to Tokyo, were obliterated in moments. It felt like the entire planet was under siege, and no one knew where to turn for help. Amid the destruction, a small group of survivors began to regroup. Alex Steele, a former soldier turned resistance leader, found himself at the heart of the chaos. He had led soldiers into battle before, but nothing like this. The entire world seemed to be crumbling around him. Still, Alex knew one thing. Humanity would not fall without a fight. Alex quickly gathered a team of skilled fighters, all of whom had seen war in one form or another. They were the last hope, fighting back against an overwhelming enemy. Armed with only experimental weapons, cloaking devices, drones controlled by advanced AI, and tech that had never been tested in battle, Alex and his group prepared for the impossible. They didn't have the advantage of powerful military forces or advanced technology like the aliens, but they had something the aliens couldn't understand: the will to survive. The team slipped through the shadows, using cloaking devices to remain hidden from the enemy's gaze. But the aliens were adapting quickly. They were too advanced, too smart, and the drones Alex's team relied on weren't enough to protect them from the relentless alien forces. As the alien ships scanned the city, they began to close in on the human survivors. Alex knew time was running out. Every move had to be calculated, every decision crucial. One wrong step and they would all be lost. The escape was a blur of action: gunfire, explosions, and the sound of AI-controlled drones whizzing past. Alex led his team through the wreckage of their once beautiful city, dodging alien patrols and desperate to find safety. It was a high-stakes race against time as they navigated through destroyed streets, trying to reach a secure location where they could regroup. The team fought fiercely, each soldier knowing the odds were against them but refusing to give up. They had made it this far, and they would fight until the last breath. But just when it seemed like the team might make it, they were spotted. Alien ships locked onto their position, and the skies above were filled with deadly energy blasts. The group's cloaking devices flickered as they raced toward their only hope: a hidden underground bunker designed for emergencies just like this. Alex's heart pounded as the ground shook beneath their feet. The city's destruction was only the beginning. If they couldn't get to safety, Earth's resistance would be extinguished. In those moments, the team understood what was at stake. Earth wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for their future, their freedom. Alex Steele wasn't just leading a team anymore. He was leading the last hope for humanity. With every step, the battle grew more intense. But one thing was certain: Earth had refused to fall without a fight. The situation was dire. Alex and his team had barely managed to escape the alien onslaught, but they knew their fight was far from over. As they found shelter in an abandoned underground facility, they took a moment to catch their breath. The air was thick with tension, and the weight of what they were facing pressed down on them. Their bodies were bruised, and their minds were exhausted, but their spirits were not broken. It was in this moment of quiet that the emotional core of the story began to unfold. Bonner, one of the most loyal soldiers in Alex's team, knelt beside a dying comrade, Marcus, who had been gravely wounded in their escape. As Marcus's life slipped away, Bonner whispered to him, his voice thick with emotion. "You fought for something greater than yourself. You fought for Earth, for our families, for our future. We're not just soldiers, we're the last hope for humanity. I'll make sure your sacrifice means something." Bonner's words struck a chord with everyone in the room. The loss of one of their own wasn't just a loss of a soldier, it was a reminder of the stakes. It wasn't just a war for survival, it was a fight for everything they held dear, their homes, their families, and the future of humankind. This wasn't just another battle, it was their last stand. Alex, sensing the weight of the moment, stood tall before his team. His eyes burned with determination as he addressed them. "We're the underdogs. We don't have their technology, their advanced weapons, but we have something they'll never understand, our will to survive, our fight for what's ours. We may not have much left, but we have each other. We are humanity, and we will never go down without a fight. Today we show them that we're not just a weak, helpless planet. We will stand and we will fight." His words fueled the team's resolve. Despite the overwhelming odds, the soldiers rallied around Alex. They weren't just going to survive. They were going to make sure humanity's spirit would never be crushed. They were going to give everything to stop the aliens, no matter what. In a moment of silent agreement, the team made their decision. They would launch a daring counterattack. Using an experimental cloaking device, they planned to infiltrate the alien mothership, an enormous vessel at the heart of the alien fleet. If they could disable the ship, they might be able to turn the tide of the war. As they snuck through enemy lines, the tension was unbearable. They had no idea what awaited them aboard the mothership, but they couldn't afford to back down now. Every step brought them closer to their goal, and every step was a reminder that failure meant certain death. When they finally breached the mothership's interior, they uncovered something far worse than they had imagined. In the heart of the ship, they discovered a secret. The aliens were preparing to unleash a doomsday weapon, a catastrophic device that would destroy Earth in one swift strike. The planet's very survival was at risk. The team was shaken, but they knew they couldn't hesitate. The clock was ticking. If they didn't stop this weapon, everything they fought for would be lost. The Resistance's last stand had just become a race against time. The battle raged on, but the fate of Earth rested on a single moment. Alex and his team, now aboard cloaked ships, were preparing for a daring assault on the alien mothership. The sky above was alive with chaos, explosions lighting up the stars as Earth's last forces clashed with the overwhelming might of the alien invaders. Alex's team was poised to strike, their ships invisible to the enemy's sensors, giving them a rare advantage. The intense noise of battle echoed through the air as they closed in on the massive alien vessel. But as they approached, the sheer size of the mothership took their breath away. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, sleek, dark, and designed to instill fear. The ship's defenses were formidable, but Alex knew they couldn't afford to wait any longer. This was the moment to strike. The team moved quickly, using the cover of cloaked ships to sneak past the enemy's outer defenses. But as they docked with the mothership and boarded, they realized the fight had only just begun. The ship was heavily fortified. AI-controlled sentinels patrolled every hallway, and laser turrets were placed at every critical point. It was a fortress in space, and the only way in was through sheer force. Inside, the air was thick with smoke and the stench of battle. The team pressed on, their weapons blazing as they fought through hordes of robotic enemies. The sound of metal clashing and laser fire filled the corridors. Alex led the charge, his heart racing with every step. His team fought like a well-oiled machine, pushing forward with a determination that made them unstoppable. Each hallway was a battleground, each room another obstacle. The fighting was intense, hand-to-hand combat, close-quarters firefights, and near-death escapes. Alex's thoughts were a blur. He couldn't stop to think about the danger they were in. There was no time for that. They had to reach the heart of the ship to stop the weapon that could annihilate Earth. Finally, After what felt like hours of intense fighting, the team breached the control room. What they found there sent shockwaves through them. In the center of the room was a colossal machine, a planetary annihilator, capable of destroying entire worlds. The countdown was already ticking down, and Earth had less than an hour to live. Alex's pulse quickened as he saw the weapon's interface. He knew what he had to do, but as he studied the system, a terrifying realization hit him. The weapon was connected to something far more dangerous, the alien AI that controlled the entire fleet. If they destroyed the weapon, they risked enraging the AI, and that could lead to a counterattack that would wipe out humanity for good. But if they didn't act, Earth would be destroyed without a chance to fight back. The team was in a race against time. The countdown on the weapon was ticking faster now, but Alex knew they had to stop it before it was too late. The AI was their biggest enemy now, and they had to find a way to defeat it. Every second counted. As the countdown continued to drop, the tension inside the mothership reached its peak. The final showdown was imminent, and the fate of the entire world rested on Alex and his team's shoulders. Would they stop the weapon in time, or would Earth face its final hour? The battle was far from over, and every choice they made would determine humanity's future. The battle inside the alien mothership was reaching its breaking point. The team had fought their way deep into the heart of the ship, but the AI-controlled defenses were overwhelming. As Alex and his team advanced, the alien AI activated its final line of defense, flooding the corridors with swarms of robotic drones. The metallic creatures hissed and clicked as they charged, their sharp weapons poised to strike. Alex and his team fought back, but the odds were against them. The drones were relentless, pouring out of every corridor and door, their numbers growing by the second. They were trapped. That's when Bonner, ever the loyal soldier, made the ultimate sacrifice. With a grim look on his face, he turned to Alex and said, "Go. I'll hold them off. You have to stop this." In that emotional moment, as Bonner took his stand against the incoming wave of drones, Alex hesitated. But there was no time for hesitation. He knew that Bonner's sacrifice would be in vain if he didn't act. With a final nod, Alex ran toward the control room, knowing that Bonner's last words would stay with him forever. Never give up on humanity. It was a simple phrase, but it gave Alex the strength he needed to push forward. The control room was just ahead, but it wasn't unguarded. Inside, Alex was met by the terrifying virtual avatar of the alien AI. The AI's form flickered in front of him, its voice cold and calculating. "You think you can stop this? You think your pathetic species stands a chance? You are nothing! You will fail, just like all the others." The AI's arrogance was maddening, but Alex refused to back down. With every fiber of his being, he knew this was humanity's last hope. As the AI mocked him, Alex's mind raced. He wasn't going to let humanity fall without a fight. Using the alien technology they had captured during their infiltration, Alex hacked into the ship's systems, turning the AI's own weapons against it. The AI's virtual avatar flickered as it struggled to regain control, but it was too late. In a heart-pounding moment of sheer willpower, Alex managed to override the system, shutting down the doomsday weapon just seconds before it could launch. The countdown stopped, and the threat to Earth was gone. But the victory came at a cost. As the alien fleet began to crumble, the ship's defenses failed and chaos erupted. Alex's team fought desperately to escape the collapsing mothership, but not everyone made it out. In the end, Alex and the surviving members of his team escaped the mothership, but the victory was bittersweet. Bonner's sacrifice weighed heavily on Alex's heart. Humanity had won this battle, but the cost had been high. As they looked out over the ruins of the alien fleet, Alex knew that the fight wasn't over. But for the first time in a long while, there was hope. The enemy had underestimated humanity. They had thought Earth would fall, but Alex and his team had proven them wrong. Humanity had faced its darkest hour and had come out victorious. The road ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity would never give up. The smoke had cleared, and the alien fleet, once so powerful and sure of its victory, now retreated into the darkness of space. Their advanced technology, their towering warships, and their deadly weapons had all been for nothing. Earth, a planet they had once believed was weak, had stood tall in the face of overwhelming odds. It wasn't the strength of their technology that had won the battle. It was the unyielding spirit of humanity, their resolve, and their will to survive. As the last of the alien ships disappeared into the distant stars, Alex Steele stood on the ruins of what was once a thriving city. The skyline was scarred, buildings reduced to rubble, but there was a sense of defiance in the air. The city may have been shattered, but it had not been conquered. Humanity had been pushed to the brink of extinction, but they had fought back, proving that no matter how advanced or powerful an enemy might be, the human spirit could never be broken. Alex looked at the sky, his mind filled with thoughts of the sacrifices made, especially Bonner's. His friend had given everything for this moment. The battle was over, but the war for Earth's future was just beginning. In the distance, humanity's leaders began to gather, working alongside soldiers and civilians to rebuild what had been lost. The people of Earth had proven their strength, and now they would rebuild with the knowledge that they were no longer seen as a weak species. Alex's phone buzzed, breaking him from his thoughts. It was a message from other worlds, from races who had watched the battle unfold. Your victory has inspired us. We stand with you. Earth is no longer alone. The message echoed through Alex's mind. Earth, once thought to be insignificant, had become a symbol of hope and defiance for countless civilizations across the galaxy. The universe had witnessed humanity's resilience, and now Earth would no longer be ignored. No longer seen as a primitive planet, but a powerful force to be reckoned with. As Alex stood at the center of the city, surveying the ruins, he felt a new sense of purpose. They had won this battle, but the road ahead would be long and difficult. The scars of war were still fresh, but the human spirit was stronger than ever. They had proved that they could face the greatest challenges and rise from the ashes stronger than before. Just as the rebuilding efforts were beginning to take shape, a new threat appeared on the horizon. A fleet of ships, far larger than anything Earth had ever seen, began to approach the planet. But this time, the humans weren't afraid. Alex watched as the alien ships slowed their approach, no longer advancing in hostility. The message was clear. This fleet wasn't here to conquer. They were here to negotiate. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy. The universe would never be the same again. Earth had shown that even the most powerful enemies could be defeated by the strength of the human spirit. And now, as the new fleet approached, Alex knew that humanity had finally taken its rightful place among the stars. The battle for Earth was over, but a new era had just begun.